Holy crap, guys. What's up? It's Chris here with Gaming Kinda. I put out a post earlier that was really light and jovial and welcoming all of you to Gaming Kinda. And there has not been a lot of 14 news lately, but there has been a lot of Blizzard news surrounding World of Warcraft, and we just had a huge one drop November 3rd. One last thank you, I guess, of the last thank yous for voting. Those of you that voted, I feel like I was like, I'm just gonna do that on November 3rd, and who knew I was gonna record like 3 posts on November 3rd. Policy update for input broadcasting software, multiboxing. This is things like ISBoxer. As World of Warcraft has evolved, our policies have also evolved to support the health of the game and the needs of the players. We've examined the use of third-party input broadcasting software. I made a post on this like no time at all ago, which allows a single keystroke or action to automatically be mirrored to multiple game clients, and we've seen increasingly negative impact to the game as the software is used to support botting and automated gameplay. So not multiboxers themselves, but when you take it one step further. The use of input broadcasting software that mirrors keystrokes to multiple WoW game clients will soon be considered an actionable offense. We believe this policy is in the best interest of the game and the community. We will soon begin issuing warnings to all players who are detected using input broadcasting software to mirror commands to multiple accounts at the same time, often used for multiboxing. With these warnings, we intend to notify players that they should not use this software while playing World of Warcraft. Soon thereafter, the warnings will escalate to account actions, which can include suspension and, if necessary, permanent closure of the player's World of Warcraft accounts. We strongly advise that you cease using this type of software immediately to maintain uninterrupted access to World of Warcraft. Thank you for understanding. This is huge news. This is a drastic shift for both classic and retail WoW. Multiboxing has added a new way to play, and with it, it has added new ways to exploit. And so there are people who have found new and fun ways that don't break the game. They don't negatively directly impact a person's ability to play. They just do what other players could do, but more. People doing 4x2 farms by themselves on smaller servers where there just isn't anybody else. That's not hurting anybody directly. And that's really what it comes down to. Are you hurting somebody? And you can say indirect, but like indirect, that could also be hurt by somebody who just plays a lot. So like that's not really something we can directly attribute. But now if a bot slips through the cracks, they could be slipping through the cracks with 10. So like I'm aware of why the complaints exist. I've put up a post on it. I personally was looking at trying multiboxing sometime next year just so that I have a better feel for what it feels like rather than just watching it and kind of viewing it from afar. This is a game changer. They didn't say timelines. They just said we will soon issue warnings. So I would assume that's If I had to guess, I would say kind of November 10th with the Scourge event. I assume sometime between then and the 23rd, they will begin issuing warnings as people start to flood back into the game and prepare for Shadowlands. And I assume that means sometime between Shadowlands and probably the first raid, we'll start seeing the first bans go out as people choose to ignore this. I know there is a whole section of the community that is absolutely thrilled about this. I will say to those people, if you feel the only reason you were not making money on the auction house was multiboxers, just know that like you're not going to suddenly wake up with a pile of gold. There are other reasons. It was not the single contributing factor. The kind of players that multibox are also typically incredibly optimal solo boxers when it comes to farming. And they have to be because things like skinning and, some Mog farms and stuff don't work as multibox farms. So there are things that group of like, I guess, farming as like a gameplay style do that they do it single player. They don't do it multi. So like I think they're going to quickly find that like a huge portion of the auction house is supplied legit, where this really I think it came down to bots. I think it came down to that's the group that broke the camel's back there, which is great. I think that's improves. I think getting bots out of the game improves it for the whole game. If something is against TOS, get it out. Otherwise, there's no point in having TOS. If TOS is just a bunch of rules and some of them are enforced and some are not, it doesn't help anybody. But set a set of rules and let's all agree to play by them. And if multiboxing is against the rules, then that'll be gone. But like botting always has been, and the fact that there were still botters in the game, I think there's a lot less botters and RMT spammers. I run into them a lot less in World of Warcraft than I do in 14, so I don't know the per capita, but that's what it feels like. And I think that's because historically, like, there have been times when WoW's done a good job cracking down. That could just be my personal anecdotal. I don't have the numbers of how many people are botting. It would be weird if they had a number of bots that they weren't banning. So I don't know that anybody has that exact number, and I'm sure we all have different experiences. Some people may play both games and may always run into bots with the things they're choosing to do out in WoW, and yet on 14 they may never feel it. I also know that sometimes botting behavior is backed by a real person. There were players doing Ishgardian Restoration stuff on 14 that received hate messages and were reported as botting when they were really just being efficient. So this should help kind of shake that out. It's a bummer to see this style of gameplay go away if the only reason truly is that it's from botting. If they also feel that it's changing the economy and things like that, then they should have said that. But what the exact phrasing here was that the exact phrasing here implies that botting is the key issue, that this is the number one reason that is used to support botting and automated gameplay, not people taking up farms, people using up multi-tapping all of a node, not any of those things that multiboxers are also accused of. I think this is huge. I'll link the forum post below. It's very brief. I read the whole thing at the beginning. I encourage you guys to voice your opinion. If you support this decision, go out to the forums, say thank you. Blizzard devs do listen, and so they obviously feel that this is something that the community's been vocal about. So if you agree with this, definitely let them know, especially because I think they're going to get a lot of negativity around certain things that don't work at the beginning of Shadowlands. And so when they do something that's good, it would be really nice to throw that out there and say, hey, I really appreciate this change. Hey, I really appreciate that, you know, it looks like you're listening over here. That way it's just not all negativity all the time. If you feel that this unfairly targets something, let them know. Go back and say, hey, you know, like, is there a way to allow this but not that? We've already seen them say things like, hey, you can't take multiboxers into PvP. Like, are there things that we should just say, hey, if you want to have multiple accounts, you can do it, but only in these circumstances? You know, and try to get them to kind of back off on the multiboxing portion without getting to the territory where they're allowing the same number of bots. You're never going to get all the way back to the way it was as of today. But, you know, maybe you can talk them into incrementing if the multiboxing community is larger and more vocal than they expected. You guys command an enormous amount of resources per player because of the number of subscriptions that you pay. Even if you pay them with gold, that is tied to direct revenue. That actually comes from somebody buying a token. So you're an enormous chunk of revenue per player compared to people that just solo box, don't buy cosmetics, don't buy deluxe editions, which probably sums up a huge portion of the population. So let them know. I'm bummed to see it come to this. That's typically how I feel when TOS gets tighter, is that it's usually a select few ruin things for the many. And so that's always a bummer. But I think seeing them make a decision that's for the long-term health of the game as a general statement is a good thing. Where I fall on this exactly is that I'm not a multiboxer. So like, I honestly don't know. So like, my first inkling is to say multiboxing is not cheating because it's not botting, but it gets really close when you add a bot. How does that get detected? I don't know, that's nuts. Other than that, guys, thanks for the double post. I was at 60 subscribers at the beginning of the day, and there's already almost 500 of you, so huge thanks to all of you coming over from work to game. Hello and welcome. I will warn you that because Final Fantasy is kind of in a holding pattern where we're just in Boja and everybody's content and there's nothing new until the next live letter, there's probably very little 14 posts here compared to World of Warcraft that is spinning into an expansion where we're getting daily updates about changes and hot fixes and all of this stuff. And for people that are coming here to join to hear World of Warcraft stuff, just know that that pendulum's going to swing the other way as we gear up for an expansion next year. There will be times where WoW, which has less patches per expansion cycle, will be in a holding pattern between these huge big patch waves of news where Final Fantasy just has it. Final Fantasy just has the news. and has a lot to talk about and a lot to be excited about. It is hard for a game mid-cycle to be anywhere as close to as exciting as a new expansion. A new expansion is just so much new content compared to a patch, no matter how big and how awesome that patch is. So thank you guys for this. This is, I guess, a news post, but also a little bit of my opinion, and it's all about gaming, kinda. Thanks for hanging out. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.